MeMonster.
Chapter 36. Peace. After receiving the pain relief patches that Goblin bought, I dismissed her and headed to the living room. Peace, inside the enclosure, hopped from side to side, greeting me. No matter how many times I see him, he's just too cute. As always, I scooped Peace up into my arms and stroked the back of his neck. The purring sound was so pleasant to hear. There won't be many more days left for me to carry him around like this. Once he starts proing, he'll soon be bigger than me. It's a bit sad. Don't you dare start pretending you don't know your dad just because you're all grown up. Do monsters go through a rebellious phase too? If he swings his paw at me saying, "I hate you, Dad," I'd probably end up hospitalized. But our Peace is too sweet for that, so I'm sure it won't happen. I set Peace down on the floor and used my kid is the best skill. Soon, a message window appeared before me. My kid is the best L growth effect will be applied to the target Peace for 3 days. Level 2, unicorn subspecies A, flame-horned lion, Peace. Is metamorphosis into an adult will take 365 hours, total effect duration 72 hours. Done, the caretaker trains the subject to undergo adult metamorphosis, reduce the total time required. Long, waiting is not needed, you can grow. Normally, it would have ended with the effect duration 72 hours, but there was an extra explanation attached. There's even a typo. No, it doesn't seem like a regular typo. They did this typo on purpose. Just a glance and it's obvious it's a vertical joke. Originally, it should have been Dan, but they pretended it was a typo and made it done. If you read it vertically, come to dungeon. Now they're even giving instructions through the explanation window. Wow, I'm genuinely curious about who this person is. Why do they want me to come to the dungeon again? Given how far they're going with this, I guess like when I entered the D-rank dungeon, the chatting function only works within the dungeon. It seems there's some restriction outside the dungeon, so they use this vertical joke in the explanation window. If they send direct messages inside the dungeon, it seems bugs appear, like with that weird monster that popped out. Whoever they are, they don't seem to be omnipotent. Considering they couldn't find me until I entered the dungeon, they probably can't do much in this world outside the dungeon. Is that why they want me to go to the dungeon? But why should I trust them? What if they mess up again and this time an S-rank boss monster pops out? What then? Sorry, but my trust in you or whoever created this system is long gone. If I hadn't been with Yuhyun and instead entered with a normal A-rank instructor, I might have crossed the river Styx by now. So, let's just pretend I didn't see anything. I mean, nothing bad will happen just because I ignore the message, right? The problem is that it feels like something will happen. Damn it. How likely is it that some idle god or being would waste time on a vertical joke for no reason? Out of all the S ranks out there, why me? Is it because I returned to the past? Should I have taken a wish stone and begged to get rid of these damn dungeons and awakeners? Kyung? As I stood there lost in thought, Peace let out a small cry as if asking what was wrong. It's nothing, just... It seems this dad has gotten mixed up with someone bizarre and insane. I sighed and held Peace again. Why can't I just live a peaceful life? All I ever wanted was to laze around. That's not such a huge desire, is it? There's no point in overthinking it. In the end, there are only 2 options. Ignore it or obediently enter the dungeon. It's not like I have anyone to consult with about receiving a message like this from the system. Even 5 years later, I couldn't figure out the first thing about the system, so it's probably even worse now. A low-level F rank knowing the most about the awakening and dungeon systems in the world? What a joke. Seriously, what am I supposed to do with this? Let's just focus on growing Peace first. At least it's good news that training will speed up his growth. I'll think about entering the dungeon after Peace has grown into an adult. If it's urgent, they'll contact me somehow. Do you have time this evening? I texted Yuhyun. He must have been busy cleaning up at the association, so his reply was a bit late. Why? I have something to tell you. Let's meet at home. I almost wrote your place, but changed it. This guy seems to think of my house as his home. The second reply came even later. By the time the patch I applied made Peace go crazy and I had to take it off, Young-Won had returned after returning his gear, and we discussed sharpening 10,000 blades. I was tossing a ball to test the training effect on Peace when I finally got the text. "I trust you, Hyung." Oh, how adorable. He must have been bothered by what I said about being weird in the dungeon. Did he think I wanted to meet up to explain myself? "I'll bring some alcohol." "Your fridge is way too wholesome. To come to think of it, I haven't had a drink with this brat yet. By the time Yoo-hyun was old enough, our relationship had already soured. Sure, I'd staggered into his place drunk, but we never drank together." Could it be he's still inexperienced with drinking? Even if it's his first time, with S-rank stats, he won't get drunk easily. Neither will I. What a mess this all is.
Someday, I'll be able to use my skills without worry. With Peace in one hand and a bag filled with alcohol and snacks in the other, I headed to my brother's place. I didn't buy the alcohol. I asked the management office and they prepared it for me. Fancy stuff I don't even know the names of. I just wanted some decent beer. The staff member from the management office who handled alcohol smiled brightly and said, "This stuff won't even get a B rank buzzed," and lined up bottles with alcohol content through the roof. They even mixed in some wine for starters. Something about Grand Cru or whatever. I don't know, but it was definitely too nice to be swinging around in a plastic bag. It's charged to Ewan's account, so I don't care. The house was as quiet as the first time I visited. It's way too spacious for one person. You're still too young to get married, but at least try dating.
"You're here."
I placed the bottles and snacks on the table and sat on the sofa. Soon, Ewan appeared, his hair still wet, probably from just having showered. Quite a bit of blood from that bird had splattered on him. Seems like the association kept you for a while. It's a rare occurrence. I handled some other business while I was there. Ewan brought over glasses and sat in a single-seater sofa, a bit away from me. He glanced at the bottles on the table and slightly furrowed his brow. Isn't this stuff a bit too strong? He recognizes it, so it's not his first time. That's a little disappointing. You were just carried in a few days ago. Don't worry, I'll drink moderately today. And we're at home anyway. What's the harm in getting smashed at home? Not that I'll get drunk. By the way, it'd be hard for Goblin to get in here, right? Since only one person can use the portal at a time, she'd be caught even if she tried sneaking in. Plus, the location is hidden, so spatial movement would be difficult too. Not impossible, Ewan said as he opened a bottle. There's a window, so if they check each space one by one using spatial movement, they'd eventually find it. But I doubt she'd go to that much trouble. To avoid Goblin, I guess I'd need to hide my location and use a secret room or something. Don't worry about Goblin. For their own safety, they'll definitely keep secrets. They are incredibly useful if you can get past the unsettling parts. For secret communications? That's part of it, but they are also useful when making deals with people you don't trust. They guarantee safety and confidentiality. Because of that, they're essential for high-ranking non-awakeners. So she provides that kind of service too. It's probably best to keep our contract a secret for both our sakes. Even if the contract says she won't reveal other secrets, the big shots would still get nervous. Speaking of Goblin, don't you think they act kind of childish? Huh? Their personality is a bit quirky, but they are precise and thorough in their work. I think it's more of a persona. There are a few hunters who create and act out characters that fit their abilities. Is that it? Now that I think about it, she was very meticulous when drafting the contract. Too thorough for a kid. Maybe, as Ewan said, she's not actually young but is just deeply into her goblin persona. Her behavior is straight out of a traditional folktale. Loving pranks, trying to trick people, incredibly versatile, but somewhat clumsy. If I lent her money, would she keep paying me back daily? Calming Peace, who is curious about the shiny glass bottles, I picked up the glass Ewan poured for me. It's only about 20 milliliters. Hey, little brother, there's barely enough to wet my lips here. This is ridiculous. It's not even a sip. I told you it's strong. Just take small sips. And yet he fills his own glass over halfway. I'm not that much of a lightweight, you know. I've been drinking 10 years longer than you. Grumbling, I emptied my glass in one gulp and reached for another bottle. What's your problem? Staring at me won't change anything. Are you going to take it from me? It's just strong in name, not even a buzz. Seriously, not even a buzz. All I could tell was that it had a nice aroma and a bit of a kick. Maybe it's good because it's expensive, even if it doesn't get you drunk. Don't pout. Pour yourself another glass. This is your first time drinking, isn't it? Ewan hesitated briefly before downing his glass and holding it out. His actions made me feel strange. Before I returned, I never imagined we'd be doing this, exchanging drinks. Or maybe, before the world changed, I thought someday I'd have a drink with my brother. I remember once thinking, after his college entrance exams, I'd pour him a drink like this, even if it was cheap stuff, and teach him how to drink. You were a good brother. There were many things you lacked, but you never complained, unlike most kids your age. Of course, you're still a good brother. I smiled as I filled his empty glass. Sure, you're a bit annoying, but that's because of the skill. Without it, you'd worry about me anyway. A good brother. Huh. Ewan muttered bitterly. You were good, though. A model student. His expression looked off, so I was about to ask if he'd gotten into trouble without me knowing, but Ewan spoke first. What's this thing you wanted to talk about? Oh, right. I stroked Peace, who was purring on my lap, as I continued. It's about my level 10 skill. A skill? Well, since you were there when the boss monster was taken down, you must have gotten experience. An A-rank dungeon should have been more than enough to level up. What skill did you get? Monster Breeder. Sounds better than just saying a monster. Monster Breeder. Ewan's gaze fell on Peace. Sensing the attention, Peace bared his teeth slightly, as if displeased. Don't do that. He's going to be your future partner. Yeah, I think looking after Peace influenced the skill too. The skill level is S rank, and... S rank? My brother's face turned serious. Your stats are F, but the skill? And it's a special S-rank skill? Hey, don't go getting weird ideas. If you start talking about locking me up again, I'll leave. But Young, no buts. Just listen to what I have to say. The skill effect is exactly as the name implies. It's a skill for raising monsters, specifically for growing them. Remember how Peace wouldn't grow? Normally, flame-horned lion cubs can't grow without the help of an adult. But with my skill, he can grow, while still tamed. A fully grown, tamed flame-horned lion. Yuhian, more than anyone else, would understand the value of that. Silence fell over us. Peace wagged his tail gently. After a long pause, Yuhian finally spoke with a complicated expression. But that means you, again with the but. Think about it. How many S ranks are in need of a high-level mount right now? All of them. Mid and low-level mounts can't be used in S-rank dungeons. Even for large guilds, it's too expensive to use them as disposables, so they'd only bring them along for first raids or rare occasions. The chances of a mid and low-level mount surviving an S-rank dungeon are extremely low. Yuhian explained in a slightly dazed voice. So, not just S ranks, but the entire team would need them. Even if it's not a top-tier mount like a flame-horned lion, as long as it's enough to survive an S-rank dungeon, people from all over the world would flock to get one. After finishing his explanation, Yuhian rubbed his face with his hand and let out a long sigh. Seeing him like that, I smiled. With demand that high, it wouldn't be hard to negotiate, right? Of course. Really? Even the skill advice you gave earlier. Yuhian lowered his hand, revealing a slightly dazed expression. It was funny and a little cute. Reminded me of when we were kids. You're really the best, Young. You flatter me. Chapter 37.
As I emptied my glass, I organized my thoughts on the upcoming plans. I decided to raise the flame-horned lion in cooperation with Haiyan. Negotiating with the large guilds on my own would be too much to handle. Plus, it's a hassle. Why take on that kind of trouble when there are people who can do the job well? You're still going to stay unaffiliated as a hunter, right? I nodded at Yuhyun's question. If I were to sign a hunter contract with Haiyan, it would only make more people wary of me. Even if the chances are slim, there's a big difference between having an opportunity and having none at all. I was already the blood relative of the Haiyan guild leader, and if I went so far as to seal it with a contract, there might be attempts to crush me before I could grow stronger. The world is full of people who'd spit on a cake they can't eat. At least on the surface, I need to appear fair. Once Haiyan gains full control of the domestic hunter scene, I'll sign a contract then. It won't take that long, Yuhyun said confidently. He had already dominated the scene in just 5 years, so if he adds Yerim and Myung-woo, it'll be even faster. Kim Song-han also has the potential to grow into an S rank. Will Suk Haiyan join Haiyan too? She's a Suk Kim Young's niece. I feel like I'm giving out a lot more than I initially thought. Oh well, it'd be good if Haiyan grows quickly. Yuhyun's not the type to betray me, anyway. As we discussed earlier, the compensation for Haiyan's support is raising peace. We can proceed with the detailed contract after we clear the new A-rank dungeon. You said the raid would start in 3 days, right? Yeah, I should send people to the auction house to sweep up any monster cubs and eggs. We don't need mid or low-level ones, but do you think any high-level ones are even available? If we check overseas, there might be some left in inventory. They're expensive, but not very useful. We should secure a tamer in advance, too. There's no way they're going to dump a dozen or so on me at once, right? I'd spend all my time just feeding them. I can't raise too many at once. I preemptively clarified, just in case there were practical limits. The emotional bond took time, and rapid growth could only be achieved if I personally handled the training. So managing around 3 to 4 at a time seemed reasonable.
Really? How many can you handle? 3 is ideal, 5 at most. The more there are, the slower their growth rate. You'll set aside a spot for Haiyan, right? Even if we only have 2 or 3 each, we'd need at least 10 for the S-rank team. 10? Yeah, the S-rank raid teams are composed of at least 20 members. A warning light flashed in my mind, signaling that I was about to be buried in work. I had planned to raise a moderate number and live comfortably without being greedy. How long would it take to raise 10 of them? Considering that higher-level monsters grow at more than twice the rate of peace, and if I raise 5 at a time, it would still take a good few months. And that's just for the initial 10, for Haiyan alone. Judging by the tone, it seemed like they wanted to fill in 1 per person whenever possible. This is already becoming a hassle. I hugged peace and buried myself into the sofa backrest. I hadn't even had time to enjoy becoming one with the sofa, and here I am already. My side where I got hit ached again. To whoever designed the system, I'll be busy for a while, so don't call me. I need to raise these kids. I'm taking paternity leave. The place Yuhyun provided was none other than the training room for rookie hunters.
The room was spacious enough for the young flame-horned lion to run around freely, equipped with various training machines. In addition to that, these are 10 jaw moles. They've been weakened so that even F-rank rookies can handle them for training and skill testing. But please don't take out more than 2 at a time. The training room manager warned us. The manager here was different because they handled monsters. They were also an awakened individual. Their stats were around D rank, and they seemed specialized in defense. In case of emergency, press the emergency call button immediately. Please refer to this manual for the operation of the training equipment. After completing his explanation, the manager shot me a doubtful look before leaving the room.
Since beast teaming was to be kept a secret until negotiations with the major guilds began, we made it seem like I'd be training instead of Peace, and that was why I borrowed the training room. I'd probably get some complaints for hogging the guild's training room while relying on my brother. Now, Peace, sit here quietly. I had Peace sit beside the jaw mole cage to record his current condition. The front of the cage was transparent, so I could clearly compare the size of the two monsters. Grrr. Peace bared his fangs, showing interest in the jaw mole. The jaw mole, too, waved its forepaws with long claws in response. Must be a low-level monster, acting so dumb. It doesn't even recognize its opponent. No, sit back down. Good. I turned on the camcorder mounted on a tripod to record Peace. This is Peace, a juvenile of a second-grade unicorn subspecies, the flame-horned lion. He has not grown in the 2 months since capture. Body length is 41 centimeters, and weight is 2.8 kilograms. The beast taming skill has been in effect for 1 day as of 11:21 p.m. After providing the narration, I turned off the recording function. Next, I placed a large clock with a timer function on the table and noted the current time and Peace's remaining growth time in my notebook. What should we start with? First, I needed to check the efficiency and responsiveness by using each training device. I loaded balls into the pitching machine. Not sure if it's okay to use a machine. When I personally threw balls to Peace, the growth time decreased by about 18 minutes for every 10 minutes of play. Throwing balls for an hour reduced the time by 48 minutes, which was quite efficient. If only my shoulder could hold up. Peace, look here. Kang? Peace, who is sitting, sprang up and approached me. No, don't come over here. I operated the pitching machine and lightly shot a ball. Sniff. Peace briefly glanced at the ball before ignoring it altogether. Hey, you were chasing after them just fine when I threw them. I tried another ball, but this time he didn't even look. He just flopped down at my feet. Grr. Peace. Don't tell me training directly meant this. My stamina, my strength. Swallowing a sigh, I called the training room management office. I need equipment that increases mainly stamina stats, including strength, all parts of the body. Do I need to get special permission from the guild leader? No, he said to provide anything you need. In that case, please send equipment that boosts stats. The manager over the phone sounded slightly flustered at my request. The stats-increasing equipment is only of a low grade. I know. Everyone in this guild is a stat hoarder. I'll just use whatever is available. Soon, the requested equipment arrived. After putting it all on, my stamina stat barely hit 100. That's about level 2 for an S-rank tamer. Wow. My strength was just under 50, but since Peace is still at a C-rank level, it should be fine. He doesn't have combat experience, so he's probably at level 1. We've already tried throwing balls, so let's try hitting the sandbag this time. I led Peace over to a sandbag hanging on one side of the room. Of course, it wasn't a regular sandbag. This one was sturdy, designed for attack training, and had automatic damage measurement. Okay, Peace, look here. I'll hold it steady, and you jump up and hit it like this. You can scratch it or bite it. It's tough. I demonstrated, and Peace started jumping up and batting the sandbag with his head and horns. Pretty strong. Good job! That's it. Keep going. Grr, grr. I shook the sandbag occasionally, and Peace became even more excited. This feels good. I have a strong feeling that this training will be very effective. After exactly 30 minutes of training, I checked Peace's remaining growth period. Wow, it decreased by over an hour. While training, the growth speed was about 2.3 times faster. At this rate, Peace could reach adulthood after the third application of the skill. If I trained for 3 days straight, I could reduce the 15-day period to under 7 days. But that's a bit much, so allowing 9 days would mean he'd mature in just 2 months. Great, let's try the next thing. Cue! Peace, excited from playing with the sandbag, bounced around. Our Peace has great stamina too. I spent the next 5 hours trying out various pieces of equipment. The most efficient one was mock combat, which had a 3x rate, and the most manageable for me was laser pointer play at a 1.7x rate. I'm dying. Grr? Peace looked up at me as I lay sprawled out on the long chair, tilting his head. I should have a higher stamina stat, so why doesn't he get tired? Maybe because he's young and recovers quickly. Or maybe this is the difference between an inherent C rank destined to become an S rank and an F rank just pretending with equipment. The visible 5 stats aren't all there is to an awakened individual. Awakener researchers unanimously claim that there are hidden stats like recovery, endurance, durability, intelligence, luck, various senses, and more.
Experiments showed differences in abilities even when stats were matched with equipment and no skills were used. The side with naturally higher rank excelled in every aspect. That's why relying solely on equipment has its limits, sadly. Still, my current stamina stat should be 3 times higher. Are monsters really that strong in recovery? Chong chong! No, I can't play anymore. Let's rest for a bit. Stamina potions would be great, but those won't be developed for another year. That's because the dungeon providing the ingredients won't appear until a year from now. It'd be nice to get that dungeon too, but it's overseas. Wasn't it in Japan? Why there of all places? Once Haiyan secures its position, maybe I should attack Japan. 2 birds with 1 stone. Sounds good. Grr, grr. As Peace whined for attention, he started tugging at the hem of my pants. Hey, you! Have you been cooped up for too long and now you've got pent-up energy? Peace, do you want to play with the moles over there? I should test some training methods on them too. Dragging my body, which felt like waterlogged cotton, I approached the mole cage. A jaw mole bared its front teeth at me. Pfft, even without equipment, it's weaker than me, acting all tough. Kah! Suddenly, Peace bristled his fur and let out an aggressive roar. Peace? Peace? Kyang kyang! Kak! Kah! Peace charged, causing the jaw mole to screech back, despite the cage between them. Even the other moles in the neighboring cages joined in, screeching in unison. Kah! Oh no, what a commotion! Even as a cub, he's still a monster. Hang on. Calm down for a sec. I'll let you out. I pressed the button above the cage, opening the door. Then, Kia! In the blink of an eye, the jaw mole was torn to pieces. Whoa! Our Peace, you're quite the tough one. The time you lunged at me when we first met seems like child's play now. Grr, grr. Peace snorted proudly, his face covered in blood. Then, as if to show off, he nudged the mole's remains with his paw, pushing them to my feet. Yeah, you did great. I can't use monsters for training. It's over too quickly. And using higher-grade monsters would be too dangerous. Come here, let's wipe your face. Grr, grr. Peace seemed extremely pleased. Yeah, grow up fast and go wild in dungeons with Yuyin.
Chapter 38. Training with Peace went smoothly on the second day of using the skill. Second grade unicorn subspecies, flame-horned lion juvenile. Currently on the second day of the beast taming skill. Time, 4:39 p.m. Due to training, its growth time has been reduced. It has grown from a body length of 51 centimeters and weight of 5.6 kilograms to a body length of 51 centimeters and weight of 5.6 kilograms. I turned off the camcorder and looked at Peace, who sat proudly with his chest puffed out. He had been about the size of a small cat, but he had grown so much in just one day. At this rate, after completing 3 days of training, he might grow from an oversized cat to as large as a big dog. I'll have to find a separate place for Peace to stay soon. I could still take him home until the end of this month, but starting next month, that would probably be impossible. He'd at least be the size of a tiger by then. I already felt a little regretful. Since he can't just show up suddenly bigger, I'll have to move him secretly. I'd probably have to cover him with a cloth and move him around in a cage. It's a hassle to go back and forth, so let's just stay here for the next 2 days. I don't really need any more theoretical training, do I? I told Yu Myung-woo to rest well and take it easy for the next 2 days. As for Yiram, she was supposed to head straight into a dungeon after her classes today, so I wouldn't need to worry about her. She planned to properly equip a team this time and tackle a C-rank dungeon. The Heian Guild hunters are used to clearing B-rank dungeons, so they should clear it in 2 or 3 days. They'll take good care of her at the guild. Yiram's practically out of my hands now. Aside from offering some skill advice later on, there wouldn't be much more for me to help with. I felt a mix of relief and sadness. As I sorted through my thoughts, I let out a yawn as if on cue. I'm sleepy. I stayed up all night, and now my eyelids felt heavy. Aren't you sleepy, Peace? Let's just close our eyes for a moment. I scooped up the bouncing Peace and headed to the break room. I'd only sleep for an hour. While I dozed off briefly, Yu Myung-woo brought a packed lunch. His food still tasted great. He could probably sell it for money. Right after that, Yiram stopped by to see my face before heading into the dungeon, and now, in the dead of night, "Wah! I lost! Wah!" Goblin had plopped down on the floor, sobbing her eyes out. This time, she seemed to have prepared thoroughly, and it felt like watching a horror movie in immersive 4D. Not that it really mattered, as my fear resistance skill displayed a message indicating intimidation nullification, and that was that. It seems that the fear resistance skill message window only appeared when a certain level of intimidation was felt. Usually, it just provided a calming effect, and the message only popped up when it completely nullified the effect. I guess if intimidation, fear, and anxiety were nullified all the time, I wouldn't be able to feel normal emotions. Emotions are interlinked, after all. "You can't go home! I won't go!" She whined and flailed, lying down on the floor. It seemed she was more afraid of getting scolded than upset about losing the bet. Is she really a child? If this is an act, she deserves an acting award. I watched her, while Peace, now noticeably heavier than yesterday, sat on my lap. Suddenly, I asked, "Goblin, how old are you anyway?" "My age? I stopped counting after I turned 100. "Over 100? Not 10. Is she joking? If you don't want to say, just tell me whether you're a minor or not." "All right, a bet is a bet, so you deserve to know. Even if I get scolded, I'll tell you." Goblin floated up from her spot. At some point, her face had changed to a widely smiling ha-ho mask. Wasn't that a Yang Band mask? It's been a while since I studied it, so I can't really remember. "Do you believe goblins exist?" "What?" So what she's saying is, you mean real goblins? "Of course real goblins. What else?" What the heck? There's no such thing as real goblins. Goblin twirled in the air. Her laughter sounded like soap bubbles floating in the air. "There's dungeons and awakened people. Your little brother controls flames and your ward spreads ice mist." That's, well, the system is... What's about the system? The system. Come to think of it, the idea of real goblins and spirits existing was more realistic than dungeons suddenly popping up and people awakening. At least stories of goblins have been passed down. The system just came out of nowhere. Still, hearing that goblins exist sounded ridiculous. "But you're an awakened person." She had an idea and everything, although it was strange. Goblin laughed. Her laughter sounded like soap bubbles floating in the air. "I'm over 100 years old, and I'm 3 years old." 3 years. 3. Dungeons and Awaken People first appeared 3 years ago. She was born with the system. A hypothesis suddenly popped into my head. You've been mixed with the power of the dungeon. Goblin's ears perked up at my muttering. You know? How? How do you know? Really? Of course this isn't common knowledge. Even I don't know much about it. The phenomenon of mixing only appeared rarely after dungeon breaks became frequent, so it hadn't been properly investigated even 5 years later. But why already? No. 3 years ago was when the first dungeons started bursting out in a row. Since they were low-level dungeons, the power that leaked out was weak, but it was an environment where something mixed could have appeared. So, you're not really a goblin. Goblin grinned widely. I am a goblin. Sure. More like a relic from an old watermill owned by the Yoon family. Since her name was Yoon, Yoon might be the surname, and the other character might mean wheel. If not a watermill, it could be a cart, or even just a wheel. What? How did you know? Goblin froze midair. She seemed genuinely shocked. Maybe you're a sacred golden bell from a shaman's house. I'm a pure human.
If a golden bell from a shaman's house mixed with dungeon power, would it gain the power of prophecy? That sounds tempting. There's no way to artificially create goblins, though. By any chance, do you know anything about the system? Maybe some memories or information got mixed in. Nope, I have no idea. Of course she doesn't know. At least I understood why Goblin had such a unique personality and unprecedented special skills. As expected, the skill of teleportation is too overpowered to be gained from ordinary talent. I've got dungeon power, I have dungeon power. I have dungeon power, so teleportation is dungeon power. I hear the fantastic power of dungeon power. Dungeon power can be considered as a gate to another world and the space enclosing it, so it makes sense that she could acquire such a special skill. That's why her optimized skills don't include anything related to teleportation. Her floating invisibly suits a self-proclaimed goblin's optimized skill set. What exactly is a dungeon? Why would something create these and scatter them across this world, and why make people clear them using an awakening system? I hadn't given it much thought before going back in time, but now I couldn't just ignore it. Most importantly, the system reached out to me first. I really should try entering a dungeon. I can't keep pretending not to know. With Goblin, I should be able to come and go safely now. Can you teleport in dungeons? I mean, outside the dungeon, or you could use your invisibility on me to avoid monsters. Which rank dungeons have you been in? I've never gone inside one. What? You've never been in a dungeon? Not even once? Yep, I can't go in. Well, this is news. I tried going in once, but I got repelled. Bam! And I was thrown out! Repelled? Is it because you have dungeon power? I guess putting a dungeon inside a dungeon is impossible. She's treated similarly to a dungeon itself. What's with that look? It's suspicious. It's the look of someone finding you incredibly rare and precious. That's true. How do I investigate this? The problem is, I don't have a way. Hold on, if she's similar to a dungeon, I put Peace down from my lap and stood up. Then I spread my arms wide toward Goblin. Goblin? Yeah? I need to check something. I don't have ulterior motives toward an uncertain species. No way! We promised not to wrestle. Wrestling? Did she used to wrestle people before scaring them? She really is a traditional goblin. Then hug me from behind. Do I really have to hug you? It's important. But if I hug you, I'll want to trip you and throw you. Try to hold back. After hesitating, Goblin moved behind me. Then she hugged me from behind. Okay? Hold on. I quickly checked my status window, but nothing had changed. Try teleporting while holding me. Already giving orders, huh? What are you talking about? I haven't even started yet. Goblin grumbled, but teleported with me. This felt just like going through a dungeon gate. It's different from a mini portal. When I opened the status window, I noticed a change. Dragon Slayer L, arrow. This time there was just a simple arrow. No time for emojis. Then poison resistance L, arrow. And then poison resistance L. Perfectly immune to poison below legendary grade. Effectively neutralizes poison. Poison harmful to the human body. Even drugs will. There was another description. But what is this? Check complete? So it checked on its own and finished? Did it just want me to enter dungeons for checks? Or was there not enough time? Judging by the incomplete message, it seemed hastily written. Okay, I'm letting go now. I can't hold back anymore. Wait a sec, what more? No, teleport a few more times. No, it's exhausting to teleport with someone. It shortens the distance and I can't do it in a row. Goblin shouted, moving far away from me. She seemed able to teleport by herself multiple times easily, but it was hard for her to take someone along. Can't you create portals yet? Portals? I guess not yet. She was supposed to gain long-distance portal skills in 3 or 4 years. Since she couldn't enter dungeons, her growth had to be slow. To level up outside, she would have to buy monsters to hunt or wait for dungeon breaks. It's no good. I'll have to apply the keyword and raise her. Goblin. My beloved subordinate, I'm counting on you. Goblin shrieked and ran away. Why? Here's the camcorder with Peace's growth recording. I handed over the camcorder to Sok Gimyoung, who couldn't hide his satisfied smile. I am beyond impressed, Han Yu-jin. Sok Gimyoung spoke in a rich voice, like thick chocolate syrup. His voice was really nice. I envied that. I bet he could take a complete stranger from a phone call to dating to marriage with just that voice. I feel like bowing my head and apologizing for not recognizing your talent sooner. I should have signed a contract with you 3 years ago. His eyes seemed to indicate that he wanted to lock me into a contract even now. Nope, I'm not signing. As you've heard from Yu-hyun, I plan to remain unaffiliated for the time being. Yes, you said you'd sign a contract once Heian becomes the top guild in the country. May I confirm this once more? Well, I stopped mid-sentence. Something felt off. Are you recording this? Oh, you're certainly no ordinary person. Sok Kim-young laughed heartily but didn't turn off the recorder. This guy, seriously. Trying to pull a fast one. Turn it off, please. Recording is essential when adjusting contract terms. Even as he said that, Sok Kim-young obediently turned off the recorder. Nothing else, right? For the sake of your trust, there's nothing else.
Then he shouldn't have started recording in the first place. This guy was definitely a sly old fox in his past life. The negotiations regarding the flame-horned lions will take place with the 3 major guilds and the Hunter Association. I'll accompany you, but the guild leader will be the main negotiator. However, you don't need to worry. I've taught him well. No, the fact that you taught him is more concerning. Don't corrupt my good-natured Yu-hyun, you snake. It's a new dungeon with no prior information, but it shouldn't take long since the guild leader is participating. If it turns out to be a slime dungeon, we'll clear it in 3 days. Slime's weakness is fire. Burning them would make them unusable for materials. But with a new dungeon, the focus would be on safety and information gathering, so it would be cleared quickly. If the negotiations go smoothly, why not make a TV appearance? Pardon? Did he just say, make an appearance?
Chapter 39. What's with this sudden talk about TV appearances? This was so out of the blue. But it didn't seem that way to the sly man sitting across the table. We need to make your face well known. Wouldn't it be better for my personal safety to do the opposite? Not at all. The information about you will spread worldwide within a day after the negotiations are over. There's no use in trying to hide. I had anticipated this, but hearing it from someone else made me suddenly feel worried. Thoughts of various crimes targeting awakened individuals with low stat grades but useful special skills quickly flashed through my mind. How much would I be worth? So it's safer to make you more recognizable.
It's much harder to approach someone everyone is watching than someone no one is paying attention to. That was true. Going on TV and drawing attention would mean there would be more eyes watching me. Even if you get kidnapped, it's more likely that a witness would contact someone. They might think, why is a high-end guild member hanging out with people from other guilds in a strange place? I'm not a guild member. I'm an employee, a regular employee. He was trying to pass me off as a guild member. You just feel so close to us, Han Eugene. It's like you're part of the guild. Regular employees feel a bit more distant, don't you think? You shouldn't discriminate. You're right. Guild members and regular employees are all family. And Han Eugene, you're family to us too. Please make sure to distinguish between them. Dealing with this guy was exhausting. A cute monster appearing on TV for the first time would easily draw attention, and Peace is very affectionate, isn't he? He's sweet, cute, and lovable. By now, he's grown into quite a handsome creature. He still looks a bit young, but his mane has become fuller, his tail longer, and his horn shines with a golden glint. Whoever owns him must be proud to have such a good-looking pet. I couldn't help but smile fondly, and Seok Gimyang smiled back, as if sharing my sentiment. Why are you smiling at me like that? Due to confidentiality, we can only start preparing after the negotiations are over. I'll make a thorough plan in advance. You can leave it to me. Team Leader Seok, your handling of matters is trustworthy. I'll wait in peace. Of course, it's only your handling skills I trust. After hearing my words, the snake looked like he was thinking of a golden calf he had locked in his safe. I could care less what he's imagining. If you have any questions or needs, feel free to contact me at any time. Sure. I'm sure I'll be dealing with Seok Gimyang frequently for a while. It's still better than being slashed with his sharp tongue, so let's try to get along. Hey, Peace, did you behave well while I was gone? Grrr. Peace, who had been lying on my bed, jumped up and purred. Because our space had become cramped and I was still keeping the beast-taming skill a secret from Yu Myung-woo, Peace had moved his sleeping spot to my spacious bedroom. The cat is covered in fur. Good thing I'm not allergic. You'll soon be able to roam freely, so just hold on a little longer, I said as I held Peace close. He'd grown more than 3 times heavier since the beginning, making my arms feel weighed down. Peace's growth had slowed down. On the 3rd day, he had only gained another 0.5 kilograms. That was a stark difference compared to the first day when he gained 2.8 kilograms and the second day when he gained 3.1 kilograms. His rank still showed as C. His strength had increased considerably, so if he started as a lower C-rank dungeon monster, he was now at the level of a higher C-rank dungeon monster. So when they say he'll transform into an adult, does that mean he'll stop growing at a certain point and then suddenly mature when specific conditions are met? The growth period had consistently shortened with training. At this rate, he'd become an adult soon. After playing with Peace for a while and feeding him, I headed back out. Now I needed to check on my Youngwoo. Why do I have so much to do? Carrying a variety of blades that my Youngwoo had bought in advance, I headed toward High-End Guild's equipment maintenance team. It was a department that large guilds usually had, responsible for maintaining and repairing various items. Which of you kids has the sharpen blade skill?
A middle-aged man, bulky and wearing protective gear, approached us and tossed each of us a blue towel. It felt cool to the touch as I caught it. Other people in the room had similar blue towels draped around their necks or tied around their waists. This seems pretty handy. It costs mana stones to maintain, so it's expensive. This is why items developed from dungeon byproducts don't become widely accessible. It's impossible until mana stones become cheaper. As you've been informed, we need a machine to sharpen these blades. There's no rule that you must use a grindstone to painstakingly sharpen each blade. Just in case, it's worth testing. I opened the skill window for my precious kid and pulled up Yumeng Wu's status. Sharpened 10,000 blades, progress 71 of 10,000. While I was training Peace, MeMonster had diligently sharpened knives in the kitchen. According to him, as he sharpened blades, the grindstone's buff would activate even without using the skill. I probably counts as one blade if the skill activates automatically from sharpening it. It's easy to verify, which is nice. You could also resharpen a blade once the skill effect wears off. The grindstone's buff lasts for 3 hours, so you don't actually need 10,000 blades. In the past 3 days, MeMonster had only sharpened 13 blades. Here's a special grinder. It can easily grind dungeon metals. The middle-aged man said as he knocked on the sturdy machine firmly anchored in place. Now that I think about it, do all the people here have special skills related to equipment? There are quite a lot of them, though. Curious, I decided to check the status of the man in front of me. Awakened, Lee Min Sok. Current stat rank C, potential stat rank D to C, optimized initial skills, precise soldering B, acquired, hammering C, failed to acquire, stamina up D, acquired. Precise soldering, huh? Looks like a repair-related skill. Hammering is a bit ambiguous from the name alone, but he failed to acquire it. It'd be a shame if it was a C-rank special skill, but I don't need to concern myself with how this well-off man lives. I continued examining the others. All 7, aside from Lee Min Sok, were awakened too. However, 4 of them had stats above E rank, but their skills were common F rank ones. Of course, it's possible to acquire skills outside of the optimized ones, and useful level 10 skills might emerge, so they might not just have F rank skills. In any case, all their stats were above the level of ordinary people. Perhaps it's because their work required strength. Eugen? While I was looking around, Michael, MeMonster, nudged my arm. Just looking around. Take out a knife and try sharpening it. How do you use this machine? See the holder there? Secure it tightly and press the button. You don't hold it by hand? Didn't you say your stats are F rank? You'll cause an accident. So this special grinder isn't for ordinary people. Using a machine for everything probably wouldn't count toward the skill. Just in case, I had MeMonster secure a knife to the holder. With a loud noise, the machine started grinding the blade. However, even after the knife was ground down to the point of breaking due to the machine's power, there was no change in progress. Just as I thought, it won't work. Isn't there a regular grinder? A regular one. There's one in the crafting room over there. It's good for delicate work because you can control the pressure with your foot. That sounds perfect. Thank you. I went into the crafting room with MeMonster. Amidst various tools scattered around, there was a much simpler-looking grinding machine. I hope this one works. MeMonster sat on the chair in front of the grinder. He turned on the machine, took out a kitchen knife, and placed his foot on the pedal. The grinder started turning. After a slight hesitation, MeMonster moved the blade toward the grinder. The sharp, grating sound came intermittently, then began to stabilize. His awkward movements gradually became more proficient. Soon after, sharpened 10,000 blades, progress 72 of 10,000. It worked! Success! Hooray for technology! That's great! You'll finish this in no time. Yeah, once I get used to it, I'll be able to sharpen more than 100 a day. How long did that just take? It didn't seem like much time had passed. MeMonster, still excited, took out another knife. His expression as he got into position was calm, different from his usual demeanor. So he can make that kind of face too? Then he started grinding the blade again. This time, he was faster. There was no hesitation like before. Clang. A sharpened knife fell to the other side of the chair, and a new knife was in his hand. The once dull blade, which I had bought cheaply from a junk dealer, began to shine. So, just sharpening it makes it this good? Is it because of the skill? While I was briefly lost in thought, MeMonster had started on his 4th knife. His movements had become entirely adept, slightly adjusting the direction as he ground the blades. Even to my untrained eyes, it was neither too much nor too little, just efficient motions. He looked like a craftsman who had been sharpening knives for 10 years. I've got to be a scam here. What is this? How long has it even been since he started here? Why did he stick to administrative jobs in the first place? He should have pursued a technical career. What a waste that he ended up in the liberal arts. If he'd chosen the right path, he'd be walking down a successful road without ever meeting me. As I sighed inwardly, I watched the blade being ground. Even though it was just a simple task repeated, I couldn't take my eyes off it. Smooth and fluid, like flowing water. His movements were precise and unerring like a machine, and even the noise had turned into a soft rhythm. The blade sparkled as it came back to life. As the cooling water splashed, scattering droplets, the gleam of the blade combined with it, creating an almost artistic scene.
Who knew that sharpening knives could look so impressive? Amazing. Truly a scam. Clang! With the sound of a falling knife, the machine stopped. Myung-woo lowered his hand and turned to look at me. You're still here? Oh, I got caught up watching. Wait a minute. Are all the knives already sharpened? I bought quite a lot, though. Sharpened 10,000 blades. Progress, 115 out of 10,000. He sharpened over 40 blades. How much time has passed? I haven't timed it, but it must be under an hour. Maybe even faster. I thought it'd take about 4 or 5 minutes per blade, even with a machine. These aren't just quickly sharpened either. The pile of blades is all gleaming like new products. It could be due to the skill being applied, but it's not easy to activate the skill without consciously using it in the first place. At this rate, you'll finish in 10 days. Yeah, this machine's good, Myung-woo said casually. What a frightening guy. Pretending to be normal, but you also have the talent for SS rank skills? I should probably buy around 300 more knives, right? Yeah, there's still a lot of time left before the skill duration ends. Sorry about this. No, it's fine. Totally fine. Don't worry about it. I'll invest as much as needed. Absolutely.
Chapter 40. So relaxing. The sound of rain hitting the windows is so soothing. Lying long on the sofa, listening to Peace's purring as he snuggles up against my side, my body feels both inside and out like it's melting into relaxation. Having nothing to do and enjoying leisure time is truly the best. Yoo-hyun and Yerim both went into a dungeon. Kim Sung-han also participated in a raid on a new A-rank dungeon. I had been thinking about what kind of skill to use on him, but I decided to focus on increasing his stats first. It would be a waste to miss out on the bonus experience from the new dungeon. I tried focusing on stat growth, just in case, and as expected, it worked. Myung-hoo's task of sharpening 10,000 knives was also going smoothly. He sharpened 1,000 in one day, but then he couldn't even get out of bed the next day. Now he's compromising by sharpening about 400 to 500 a day. Goblin hasn't appeared since that day. Even if she's an enigma, it wouldn't be hard to track her down since she works for other people. But for now, I didn't feel like going out of my way to find her. When will I get to laze around like this again? Things will get busy soon, so I need to rest while I can. Even this downtime will be over shortly. It's already been 3 days since Yoo-hyun started the dungeon raid. If nothing goes wrong, he should be back today or tomorrow. I want to play more. I want to play for the rest of my life. I want to be background character number 1, someone who doesn't need to do anything. I lived diligently before going back in time, so why do I have to live diligently again? I struggled to raise my younger brother, then the world changed and I struggled some more. Should I just be thankful I'm not struggling anymore? Should I get something to eat? I used to haphazardly fill my stomach whenever, but these days I've been eating 3 square meals. The food is just too good. I went to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator door. Stacked neatly inside were containers of side dishes. That green onion kimchi was really delicious. I never knew how good spicy, tangy green onion kimchi could taste over white rice.
I used to think vegetables needed to be paired with meat to be edible. Of course, the meat dishes were nothing to scoff at either. The braised beef with shishito peppers was the best. The galbi stew that melted on my tongue was fantastic too. The stir-fried sausages were surprisingly good, to the point of being astonishing. They looked similar to the ones served in school lunches, but the taste was incomparable. I'm already feeling down thinking about Myung-hoon moving out. How did a guy who only knew how to cook instant ramen suddenly become such a culinary master? This really is a scam. Maybe Myung-hoo is the real scam character here. The soft tofu stew was so good it made me wonder if it had drugs in it. As I heated it up, set the table, and took a bite, I felt like crying. He's not going to keep living off me even after getting his SS rank skill, is he? Of course not. Just 3 days ago, it wasn't this bad. If his cooking skills keep improving at this rate, what the hell am I going to do? Maybe I should stop him now. Should I tell him to stop cooking? I guess it's true what they say. Good looks last 3 months, but good food lasts a lifetime. This is sad. Will I be able to get side dishes from him occasionally? After cleaning up the table, I fed Peace too. Despite growing larger, his food intake hadn't changed much. He still ate only 2 mana stones, though he ate a bit more meat. After eating, Peace turned his head toward the front door, whining. He'd been restless ever since he stopped going outside the day after his training ended. Being cooped up at home all day must be boring for him after having so much fun outside. Sorry. Once the negotiations are over, I'll take you to the training room to play every day. I tried to soothe him, but Peace just turned his body and sat down in front of the inner door leading to the entrance. His tail thumped against the floor in displeasure. Is my Peace upset? You're mad because you can't go out? I'm sorry. Just hang in there a little bit longer, okay? Uncle Yoo-hyun will be back soon. Even though he responded to me, he wouldn't look back. He was clearly sulking. Then how about we play with a ball? On the mention of playing with a ball, his thumping tail stopped. His previously flattened ears perked up, and he tilted his head toward me. But you can't get too excited and break the TV like the last time. We need to play carefully. Gang! Peace answered confidently and leapt over. I don't know if he really meant he would be careful or if he was just excited. If he breaks it again, I'll just buy another one. I still have plenty of money from selling mana stones. Peace was busy chewing up the sofa instead of the TV when it happened. Brrring! The doorbell rang. Was Myung-hoon already back? That was fast. Who is it? It's Sok Kim-young. I heard a voice answer through the intercom. What's he doing all the way out here? He sounded unusually unsettled. Peace, wait here for a moment. After making sure the inner door was securely closed so Peace couldn't run out, I opened the front door. Sok Kim-young's normally calm face was flushed with excitement, his usual calm demeanor nowhere to be seen. What's going on? Why are you... Han Yoo-jin! Sok Kim-young burst into the house and slammed the door behind him. Then he suddenly pulled me into a hug. Is this really Sok Kim-young, or is it Myung-hoon in disguise? It's a slime. What? Whoa! Sok Kim-young picked me up like he was going to toss me in the air. Hey, wait, calm down. Wait, let me go. Oh, don't shake me. Stop spinning. Has he lost his mind? Wow, how did such a treasure appear? Sok Kim-young kept laughing, completely ignoring my protests. Put me down, damn it! Is he trying to show off his B-rank strength? I can't take this with my F-rank stats.
While I struggled in vain against Seok Kim-young's iron grip, shouting curses, there was a loud thud. Kyung! The inner door shook violently as a ferocious roar sounded from the other side. Was that... Let me go now! Peace, it's okay! This racket must have scared him. Seok Kim-young hurriedly let me go. I opened the inner door, and Peace, with his fur standing on end, rushed out and wrapped his front paws around one of my legs. He then bared his fangs aggressively at Seok Kim-young. Grrr.
It's okay, Peace, calm down. I quickly picked him up and soothed his bristling mane. Grow. Grrr. Yes, it's okay. He's not a bad person. He's not exactly a good person either. He's more of a grayish ally. I'd heard about it, but he really is attached to you, Han Yu-jin. Seok Kim-yong watched Peace and me with admiration. Has he finally calmed down a bit? So, you're saying the new A-rank dungeon really was a slime dungeon? Yes, your prediction was spot on, Han Yu-jin. Seok Kim-yong's eyes were starting to gleam with that manic light again. Stay calm. Relax. Why don't you come inside? I should let him drink some cold water. So, I guess the raid is over? I asked as I handed Seok Kim-yong, who was sitting at the dining table, a glass of ice water. My fridge even has an ice dispenser. I used to only use an old one with a single door. Yes, I just got word. Seok Kim-yong took a sip of water. Peace stuck close to my side, eyeing Seok Kim-yong warily. He seemed really displeased, occasionally wrinkling his nose and growling softly. Grrr. It's okay, Peace. Calm down. I quickly picked him up and soothed his bristling mane. Grow. Grrr. Yes, it's okay. He's not a bad person. He's not exactly a good person either. He's more of a grayish ally. I'd heard about it, but he really is attached to you, Han Yu-jin. Seok Kim-yong watched Peace and me with admiration. Has he finally calmed down a bit? So, you're saying the new A-rank dungeon really was a slime dungeon? Yes, your prediction was spot on, Han Yu-jin. Seok Kim-yong's eyes were starting to gleam with that manic light again. Stay calm. Relax. Why don't you come inside? I should let him drink some cold water. So, I guess the raid is over? I asked as I handed Seok Kim-yong, who was sitting at the dining table, a glass of ice water. My fridge even has an ice dispenser. I used to only use an old one with a single door. Yes, I just got word. Seok Kim-yong took a sip of water. Peace stuck close to my side, eyeing Seok Kim-yong warily. He seemed really displeased, occasionally wrinkling his nose and growling softly. Grrr. It's okay, Peace. Calm down. He's not a bad person. He had heard about the Americans dealing with this situation. It sounds like his conclusion not to approach the stories too carefully got back to him too. Do you mean statistics? I like that there's no need for a long explanation. I nodded. If Seok Hayan takes on the research, I believe it could become a rule soon. We will consider establishing the research facility. Don't just consider it. Go ahead and do it. Being first is best. The sooner we start, the quicker we'll get results. Even if we start now, it'll take years. Seok Kim-yong nodded at my words. We'll try to get the larger guilds to contribute to the Flame-Horned Lion project, and we can include the facility there. Excuse me? Get them to contribute? We can't raise all those monsters here, can we? It's not just one or two. I'm planning to demolish the adjacent building and put up a new one. Of course, we won't be using our own money. The snake laughed slyly. There will indeed be multiple monsters to take care of, so it would be difficult to manage them here. But I thought they'd build it on the outskirts. You've got a bold vision, and you're doing it with someone else's money, too.
Is that okay? What if there's backlash? Of course, the landlord will be Han Yu-jin.
Yes, that's perfectly fine.
Wow, this is amazing. Getting unexpected extra income like this. Seok Kim-yong looks less like a snake and more like a gold digger right now. Still, a gold digger is still a snake. I plan to include it as one of the negotiation conditions. It'll be easier to get the other guilds to agree since being closer would be better for them. Being a landlord,
And for a new building, no less? Relax, don't get too excited. Let's not be too blatant about it. Then I can have Myungwoo move to the new building as well. I'll set up a large workshop for equipment production with space for direct sales without needing to pay commissions to the association. If we're building a new building, it'll take some time, so we should prepare a temporary location. That's not necessary. We have awakened individuals and equipment that can boost stats. Add support skills and dungeon byproducts to that, and we can shorten the construction period as much as we want to. Using awakened individuals and dungeon items for simple construction, that's a lot of money being thrown around. The construction costs will exceed the land and building costs. It's not my money, so it doesn't matter to me. What matters is that I'll be a landlord. This will be a prime location, and the material costs for the special equipment will be astronomical, making it impossible for me to estimate the market value of the building alone. If I bring Myungwoo and Seok-Hyeon into the fold, the value would be insane, not to mention my own value. Actually, why not bring both Myungwoo and Seok-Hyeon under my wing rather than just relocating them? I originally planned to have them join Hyeon once they got their skills, but if I'm going to have my own building and a place for a forge, there's no need to do that. The same goes for Seok-Hyeon. Seok Gim-young might be frustrated, but I've been a bit worried about putting too much into Hyeon, which isn't fully grown up yet. Nurturing Yerim and even Kim Song-han is enough. After all, Hyeon is a hunter guild focused on dungeon raids. If we cram things like raising flame-horned lions, equipment production, and dungeon research into Hyeon all at once, it might backfire. No matter how good the food is, you should only eat as much as you can digest. It's better to split the forces and cooperate rather than combine everything recklessly. Once everything is firmly established, we can merge then. All right, let's split things up. I looked at Seok Gim-young, who was enthusiastically discussing future plans, with a bit of pity. Sorry if it feels like I'm giving and then taking away, but be satisfied that Hyeon is still my first priority. What did you say? While the world was abuzz with the appearance of the slime dungeon, Hyeon subtly informed the large guilds and the Hunter Association about the Beast Tamer skill. Naturally, the reaction was explosive, and negotiations were proceeding smoothly. But they're coming here? To meet me? I stared in disbelief at my brother who had brought me the news. Do these guild leaders have nothing better to do? Why do they need to come in person?
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.